Black Alpha Network. Home of Black excellence. Power to the people.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with, and this is a reality. Now, when we come to Washington in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
B1 family, we all know that supremacy comes at us from different ways. Sometimes it's direct, sometimes it's sneaky. Sometimes they come through the back door, sometimes they go through the front door. Sometimes it's overt, sometimes it's covert. Sometimes they come at us with a bite in the growl, sometimes they come at us with a bite in the smile. Like Malcolm X said, we all know that. We also know all their tactics. First, they'll deny it as long as they can deny it. Then they'll admit it and immediately downplay it. And after they downplay it, they'll downplay it as long as they possibly can. And once they've done all those, and after every one of those has failed, they get desperate. And family, that's what we got them right now, desperate, because we done seen through all the games, all the tricks, and all those lies, certified style. So the only thing left for them to do is the only thing left for anybody to do, and that's to cut the motherfucking check. Let's go. All right. Once again, peace and love, everybody. Throw reparations on top of that. Peace, love, and reparations to the family. B1, FBA, Certified Black Society. Welcome to the Black Alpha Network. Thanks for the pull up. Make sure you bang that like button, smash them notifications, and subscribe to the channel. We working. Today we're going to talk about these reparation ops. Yeah, these all reparations matter motherfuckers. Everything that they trying to throw at us because we getting closer and closer, y'all, to them reparations. Our reparations, not their reparations. And we got to draw that line right in the sand to differentiate the two. We all know what we want. We all know our agenda. We also know that they're going to try to co-opt our agenda, twist it and turn it into some shit that we don't even recognize. It's our job to put a prevent to that. It's our job to hit the motherfucking brakes and spin this in our direction. That's cool because we've been doing that for 500 years. There's not a thing that we've ever got or anything that we've ever fought for that they didn't try to take from us or twist it. So if they think they're coming at us with something new, they sadly fucking mistaken. And the same applies to these reparations. We're not going to have our reparations twisted and given to everybody except for us. No, we gonna get it. I'm talking about every dollar, every nickel, quarter, penny. That shit's going straight to FBA and nobody else. And we're gonna be the ones who facilitate that, and we're gonna be the ones who put that in motion because we are the ones that stand out from the crowd, and we are unique. One of a kind, none like ours. But when we talk about these reparation ops, we gotta understand ops, opposition. What opposition looks like, where opposition comes from, and who displays opposition. And it comes from a lot of different people and a lot of different faces. And that's all good, because right here on the Black AlphaCast, we're going to regulate that shit. We're going to break it down. And we're going to do what we always do. We're going to name names. We're going to name names and dates. Everybody getting checked. Nobody's going to come and try to take what's ours and not get their name put on that G-check list, not get their name put on that Jumbotron, not get their name put on that Summer Jam screen. We're going to do all three at one, like we shooting dice, baby. Like we shooting dice, B1 style. So let's name names and let's talk about the people who are trying to co-opt our reparations reparations claim and co-opt our reparations movement. And it's going to come from a lot of different ways. A lot of different ways. I want you to think right now, everybody who practices anti-black racism, those are exactly the people who are trying to stop our reparations movement. Straight up, I want you to think about that. Every single group, ethnicity, team, organization that practices anti-black racism, those are the same cast of characters that are out here trying to stop our reparations claim at all costs. If they're anti-black, they're reparations ops. You can't separate the two of them. I don't want anybody separating the two of them. Anybody who is anti-black is anti-FBA reparations, because they know the anti-black racism that they practice on us is going to get a lot harder when we got money in our bank account. It's hard now, just simply because we don't take no bullshit. Now imagine us not taking bullshit, but us having big bank accounts at the same time. That's a game changer. That's a game changer. And every single anti-black racist is going to wake up in the morning sweating. They're going to wake up in the morning scared to death, and they're going to be shaking in their fucking boots, because them same people that you've been taking advantage of, now them people got an economic base behind them. Dr. Claude Anderson always talks about it. He said our situation is a social economic one. Yes, it is a social economic one. Jason Black from the Black Authority, he says the same thing. He says our issue is social economic. And how's the old saying go? They hate us because we're black. They take advantage of us because we're poor. Now imagine when these people got money, they got capital, they got finances behind them. You already can't see us face to face. That's why they have to do all those tactics I stated in the beginning. All the indirect shit, all the sneaky shit, the biting the smile, the biting the growl. Malcolm X was talking about that in the 60s. Now we know, they know, the whole world knows that FBA with money is dangerous. That's why anytime you've seen black people with an economic base, Tulsa, Oklahoma, or all the other functioning black societies that had money, because they weren't the only ones, every single time that we have an economic base and we have our own communities and we can build and we got dollars to back this power that we have naturally, shit gets done. And they're scared. That's why all these people are teaming up, the reparations ops. And we're going to start naming names, and we're going to start calling out some of these committees where they're literally doing every tactic imaginable to prevent us or to shape it in their image, which is why I call it all lives reparations, not FBA reparations, not descendants of American slaves reparations, not freedmen reparations, all lives reparations. And we all know how that shit works. All lives reparations goes to all lives. And when I say all lives, I'm not even talking about humans. They want to give this shit to cats and dogs and fucking squirrels and fucking parrots. They'd rather have them dollars in the hands of every fucking body else. They want to put it in paws. If they could put it in the paws of a cat or the paws of a dog, they'd be completely satisfied with that shit, as long as we don't get the money. Problem is we gonna get the money, and it's gonna come to us. It's a fucking tug of war right now. It's them trying to get their agenda across and us getting our agenda across, and we're not budging. So I hope they in it for the long haul, because this era right here, this ain't the sing and dance era. There ain't no motherfucking tap dance shoes on right now. We ain't chasing no butter biscuits. Clyburn, the Democrats can do that shit better than we ever could. We about that goddamn money and about that check. And anytime your slogan is cut the check, no tangibles, no vote, oh, them is some serious ass people. And we are some serious ass people, unlike ever before, because we're truly chasing the economic status that belongs to us. So we can get into it from a lot of different areas. We can get into it from a lot of different perspectives and avenues, but the bottom line is the bottom dollar. And the dollar is coming over here to the FBA side of things, on our side of the fence, and we're going to get it with a B1 agenda, and we're going to practice it not by doing what they ask us to do, but by doing what we want to do. And it's all got to start with being on code. And we're on code right now. We're on code. And we have to understand, as I was saying earlier, these ops that we're talking about, they're all teaming up right now. Look at these reparations panels. These reparations panels don't even have FBA on them. Matter of fact, let me rewind that. They don't even have black people on them. And then those black people, are they FBA? And if they're FBA, are they B1? Yes, I always talk about it. You guys heard me say this before. It's about miseducation, misrepresentation, and misdirection. And they're trying to do all three right now. They're trying to miseducate us on what reparations is. They're trying to misdirect us by which way we should go. And they're trying to misrepresent us by having people who do not look like us, talk like us, or think like us on these panels. Now, let me ask you guys this question. Have you ever seen any panel for any other group? Because all these other groups get reparations. Okay, whether they call them reparations, they call it stimulus checks, they call it foreign aid, it doesn't fucking matter. They're getting free money for shit that they're not even owed. We don't even get money for the debt we're owed. They get money for shit that's just off the books. Just here, take the goddamn money. Joe Biden's reaching into his pocket and just handing out his personal cash. Joe Biden has written more reparations laws and given out more reparations checks than every president in American history. The irony of the whole situation is right now, the president of the United States of America is actually the reparations president, because he's giving out more reparations than anybody. Anybody. That's the crazy part about it. We're sitting here having to fight for our reparations, something that's been owed to us for 400 years. And we have a president that is the reparations president, but he wants to give us crack pipes and hip hop history month. Think about that right now. So we know the time that they're on. The fact that they got to do an HR 40 study. No one else has a study. No one else has a fucking homeschool or a lecture or class, or they got to fucking jump over hoops to get to the money. Everybody else just gets that shit for free. Joe Biden has given out reparations checks to people who aren't even American. Think about that. The American government and American taxpayers are taking American taxpayer money and giving those reparations checks to people who are not even American. Yes, people separated at the border by Trump. Afghan refugees to Ukrainians. And all of these groups are on their third or fourth wave of reparations, but we're going to get to that in a minute. Let's go back to the panel. We talk about misrepresentation and how they got people who aren't even FBAs on these panels. They got people who aren't even black on these panels. Have you ever seen that same situation with these other groups? Now, we just said all these other groups get reparations. Have you ever seen any panel for another group where we were allowed to come on, where we were allowed to speak? As a matter of fact, have you ever even seen a panel for these other people? We got to get talked to. We got to go to the principal's office to discuss reparations. These motherfuckers don't even get panels. They don't get meetings or nothing. They just get the check. Think about it. You've never seen any panel for reparations for any other group, but all these other groups are getting money. So they're skipping that whole process. They're skipping that whole stage, and they just getting the goddamn dollars. We know the time. These are reparations ops. Yes, they go and they misrepresent us. They first make us have a study. And then after the study, we get a bullshit panel. And then the panel is just a bunch of gibberish, just a bunch of babble, and doesn't even include us. We have never been able to sit at no table and direct the destiny of another group. Straight up. These other groups can come and get invited to our panels and direct our destiny. You know why? Because didn't I say that everybody who is anti-black is anti-reparations and you cannot separate the two of them? Why do you think you have all these other people from different backgrounds on the panel discussing our reparations? It's because all of those other groups are anti-black. And when you get a bunch of people who are anti-black from different backgrounds, that's what we call tag team racism. Yes, tag team racism. Anti-black racism is the one thing that binds the world. Okay, that's the one thing. Somebody may not be of the same religion. Somebody may not have the same culture. Somebody may not speak the same languages, the same practices. But the one thing they can all agree upon is they don't like black folks, and they damn sure don't like FBAs, because we the only black folks on this planet who hold shit down consistently. So what do? They team up. They grab that phone, they say, Mr. Julio, come on down. Mr. Muhammad, come on down. Mr. Yang, come on down. Mr. Smith, Jackson, Williams, all come on down. You guys don't like black folks. We don't like black folks. Let's team up to stop them from getting reparations. This shit is real out here, y'all. These are reparation ops, and they coming. We knew that once we got on code and once we start talking about getting to the money, shit was going to get real serious. And we got to get serious right along with it, because this is our destiny right here. This is our legacy. This is our life's work. If we're able to punch home reparations, that would change everything. You understand? People have to know this, is that black Americans receiving reparations would turn us into the highest economy in this motherfucker. It would change black economics overnight. And knowing that our struggle is a social economic struggle, imagine the difference and imagine the power that that would create. The game would change. Going to bed one night without reparations, closing your eyes, waking up in the morning to reparations, you just woke up into a whole new world. A whole new world. A world that everybody from the past, all of our ancestors who we stand on the shoulders of, a world that they wanted, a world that they thought, a world that they never saw, but we can see it. And we can see it because we're on code. So it all starts with being on code. And it all starts with checking these ops. And that's what we're doing right now. We're calling them out. And it starts with shit like this. Just naming them. Just naming names, naming dates. Calling out bullshit like HR 40 or AB 31 and a half or whatever the fuck it was. A task force. I mean, they got a reparations task force, family. Come on. None of these other groups even had a fucking panel. None of these other groups had a discussion. They just got the dollars. They got the fucking check written out to them. We got a task force, a study, and a panel. And all of the studies, the panels, and the task force ain't amounted to shit. Ain't nothing came from it. They've been studying for 5 fucking years. They actually put out HR 40 back in the 1980s. We know what they're doing. They're doing what they always do. Stall out. What I say, they'll deny it as long as they can deny it. And once they admit it, they'll downplay it. And once they downplay it, they'll downplay it as long as they can. It's for us to be on code, and it's for us to push the B1 agenda. And that's the only thing that can stifle it. And the good news is that's where we at right now. We're not hoping to get on code. We're not wishing to have a code. We live in the code. We live in it, and you can see it every day. And I know us, B1s, FBAs, certified black society, We represent this to the full. We're thorough, and we're the only people who can achieve all this shit. Anybody else would fold. They fold, they go lay down, they go inside and take a nap. Straight up, and they just deal with the ass whooping. We don't do that. Nah, we reject that shit. We reject it real good. And we call out names and dates. So this is what we have to do. We got to sit in on these panels. We got to come to it. We got to get in their face. We got to put pressure on them to the point where we eventually replace the imposters on this panel and start putting the real ones on these panels. To quote Neely Fuller, he said we need to get rid of the system of supremacy and replace it with a system of justice. And we're going to add to that. We need to get rid of these imposters on these panels and replace them with real B1s. That's the short answer, that's the quick answer, that's the real answer. Representation. See, they can try to miseducate us and we can learn. We can get rid of that. That's why we have the Neely Fullers, the Dr. Claude Andersons. That's why we have Dr. Hendrik Clarks. We got all the master teachers that can teach us the real education and get rid of all that miseducation. And our master teachers also tell us the direction to go to. So every time supremacy tries to misdirect us, our master teachers who gave us the education can also give us the direction. But the representation aspect of it, that's what we control. And we can't rely on our teachers to do that. We have to do that. People who come around here and they act like they're FBA, they claim to be FBA, they take FBA talking points, they take B1 talking points, they try to twist our words and they try to co-opt them and spin them around. Those are the people that we have to replace, because those are the people that have always spoken on our behalf but do not represent us. So the misrepresentation aspect, that's what we got on full command, and we're going to replace them all until B1s are the only ones left standing.
That is correct. All right, we have next Alexandra M. Hunt to the stage. What questions do you have?
Hi, I just want to introduce myself first. As you said, my name is Alexandra, and I am running for Congress in PA3, which is most of Philadelphia. And I am, my background is in public health research, but I also worked as a stripper during college. I've been public about that, had an abortion, and have survived sexual assault. I am proudly a prison abolitionist. And the district that I'm running in is majority Black, and I'm running against a member of the Congressional Black Caucus. And so I had some folks from the district come to me and talk about reparations, and that there needs to be that break from people of color. And it came to me in a language that I understood, being a survivor of violence, that to take accountability, you have to be intentional and very specific. So I have adopted...
I'm sorry, hold on. So the couple of things I just wanted to kind of correct you on is, so we don't use...
Hey, Rella, hold on. Rella, let her finish, please. I want to hear what she say. Let her finish, please. I want to just hear out.
Okay, I'm going to let her finish, but I wanted just to correct her on a couple of points because she's going to keep saying them. So we refer to African Americans or Black Americans as American descendants of slaves. And we also are moving away from the term people of color.
No, she was saying that they were telling her to not say people of color. Please let her finish. Just say what she was saying, because I don't want to hold the room up. Just please let her finish talking.
I was almost done with just explaining how I got here and getting into my question. But yes, that was explained to me, that we are moving, that to move away from people of color, and how that is a term that has been whitewashed, essentially, to deal with white fragility and white guilt, as was mentioned earlier. So I have adopted a platform that's going to fight for Office of Freedmen Affairs and reparations, and I just wanted to say that I'm going to be an ally, and to actually ask Marcel how I can best support. I know how hard it is being on the campaign trail. You're not taking any corporate dollars. That is so tough. It sucks the soul right out of you. How can I be an ally?
All right, now I know y'all heard that, family. I know y'all heard that. Come on, what the fuck was that? We know what it was, matter of fact. It's this new trend that you're starting to see with these Democrats, where they're seeing that we're talking about reparations now, and they see that as a campaign token. All right, they say, "Oh, these black folks want reparations. Let's pretend to want to give them reparations, slide in so they can hand over their justice claim to us. And once we get it, we can do whatever the fuck we want to do with it." All reparations matter. All lives matter. That's exactly what they're doing. I said it before. Putting a Democrat or any non-FBA in control of our reparations is bullshit. And what ends up happening is, it's like handing your keys over to a designated driver. Now you are going wherever they determine. If they ask us want to crash the fucking car, or if they ask want to take you to somewhere you don't want to go, it doesn't matter because now they're in control. And that's what they're doing. They're trying to ask us to hand over our keys to our justice claim to this Alexandria Hunt or whatever the fucking name is. She's on there talking about something. You know, I'm down with the blacks. I know what it's like to be blacks. I've been abused. You know, I know that's kind of like being black, isn't it? I listen to fucking Cardi B and I smoke blunts and drink 40s. Don't you black folks do that? I'm a prison abolitionist. I know you Negroes go to jail all the time. See, I'm down with the homies. I can relate. I'm your friend. Man, every time she spoke, she got further and further away from FBAs. You could tell more and more that she was lying. Damn shame. Oh, and on another note, she used to be a stripper? Like, for real? Oh, hell no. Listen, I wouldn't pay a food stamp to go see her ass strip. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't pay someone else's food stamp to go see her strip. Fuck no. So she basically said, because she's a stripper, she relates to black people and we should give her our reparations claim. I ain't never heard nobody say, "Hey man, we should be friends. I'm a stripper." Hell to the no. That's some get your booty to the polls type shit. Oh man, that ain't nothing but a Democrat. That's a goddamn Democrat. Crack pipes, get your booty to the polls, and I'm rolling with hot sauce. That's straight out the Democratic playbook. We see all through her. She needs to sit her ass down. Man, get the fuck out of here. Man, she showed up in Brother Marcel's space the other night when he was unveiling his reparations plan. She knew what she was doing. She timed that shit out perfect. She was sitting back watching that shit on the internet and said, "Here's my shot." And they always got to fucking do it. It's no different how they got to show up to the barbecue. It's got to be at least one of them. Now, they don't ever want us in their space. You start talking about getting money, they don't want us there. You want to talk about unity, they don't want us there. You ever want to talk about economics and getting paper, they don't ever want us in their spots. But they always got to send at least one to one of ours. It don't matter where you are. They always got that fucking spy. That supremacist spy. And that's exactly what she is. If you go look at her background, and a lot of folks right here on my AlphaCast and a lot of my subscribers, we was talking about it on Twitter. Shout out Queen. You know what I'm talking about. We was ripping that up. Because if you go look at her shit, she was full of people of color, minorities, down for everybody else. Her plans are completely anti-black. She's one of these people who has sat back and heard B1 talking points. They're terminology thieves. And that's the new wave now. Considering we've came in and we got rid of all those old terms and we replaced them with B1 terms. Now they've watched the new B1 terms and they've hijacked them. And that's the catch. That's what they're doing right now. There's some representative guy, Richard Andrade or some shit out of Arizona. He's doing the same thing that old girl Alexander, whatever the fuck, is doing. He's talking about something. "I stand with blacks in reparations. I got your back." Bullshit. All you trying to do is basically say, vote for me and I'm going to use reparations as a token. In the same way that Joe Biden and every other president said, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. And then when black folks vote, they flip it on them. That's exactly what he's trying to do. That Andrade guy, he's another clown, another imposter, another op, and he ain't holding us down. They got these reparations packs that you're seeing all over the place. And I seen a young lady on Twitter and she was challenging them. And she said, "Hey, what about lineage based? What's your money going to be like? What's your plan going to be like?" And they blocked her. They blocked her. This is what's happening. They claim that they're down for FBA, and when FBAs ask them simple questions, they just block them. So if someone's blocking you on Twitter for asking questions, if someone's blocking a young foundational black American lady who's asking a simple question about reparations, and they're blocking her on Twitter, that means they're gonna really try to block us to get the money. That's what it's all about. These people are nothing but ops, it's nothing but a mirage, and they're only placed in the way so they can facilitate reparations away from us to someone else. It's the tether class. It's the tether class. That's why all these other people are showing up on our reparations panels. All these other groups, they're showing up because they want the money. That's what it really is. Either they're trying to stop us from getting our money or they can get the cash, because we all know all these other tethers want our reparations. That's why you had the whole lineage base. Everybody in here saying, well, you know, it should be just anybody who's black. And then you're also hearing people say it should be anybody who's got color. And then it's turned into it should be anybody just in the world. This is what happens. All these other groups, they want our reparations money. That's why all these other groups are represented on our reparations panels. They know damn well if FBA get that money, which is owed to us, It's going to be a game changer. And they say we want it. Just like every other thing we do in this country. They want all of our tangibles. They want all of our resources. They want all of our laws. And they want everything we've ever fought for. And now they want the debt owed to our ancestors. Ain't that a motherfucker? That's why I call them leeches of color. They leech on everything else, and they really trying to leech on our reparations. They sat back and said, oh, black folks want reparations? Let me pretend. Oh, black folks is calling themselves FBAs? Let me pretend. Oh, black folks is saying B1? Let me pretend. Oh, black folks got rid of POC? Let me quit saying that. Let me quit saying minority. It's the same game. That's why if you look at her past, it does not look like her present. It's like she done tried to swipe all that shit. Like we wouldn't go back and figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Like we ain't smart enough. And you can tell that's what she is. There's nothing about her that's real. She is just Becky or Karen who has slid into our spaces so they can find out what we're talking about, get intel, and take it back to the dominant society. That's it. She didn't come here to help black folks. She didn't come here to assist us. She didn't come here to promote our welfare. She came here to get the keys to our reparations. Because remember, once we hand them over the keys to our reparations, then they are in control of our reparations and they determine our destiny, aka no money, aka everyone else gets it except for us. Nobody's dumb. That's all they are. All they are people who want to come to our space the same way they come to our barbecues, the same way they come to our concerts. They act like they're down with us and they're just there to get everything that belongs to us and take that shit back home to them. She's no different than one of them people who showed up at the Breonna Taylor protest or the George Floyd protest, okay, or the Ahmaud Arbery protest. That's it. Y'all remember that shit? When it was all about Breonna Taylor, they showed up, then it turned into vote for Joe Biden. It was all about George Floyd, then it turned into Trump's gotta go. They stole the whole program and they flipped it on their image. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to steal our reparations claim and flip it in their image, and they send her in. And remember, the dominant society loves to send in Karen because these bed bucks out here gonna say, let her talk, let Karen talk, Karen's got something to say. And these bed wenches out here gonna say, well, you know, she does have a point, we are women. It's that shit right there. It's the Me Too movement. It's the same thing. Going back to the 60s when they would try to slide in the feminists so they can divert the attention, misdirect, away from the civil rights era, all the way back onto W women. It's the same thing right now. And they know a lot of these bed bucks and bed wenches will be more than happy to say, here's our reparations, Karen. I know it's in good hands with you. Y'all know damn well they're thinking that. As a matter of fact, I just seen somebody on Twitter the other day that made a post saying it's wrong because FBA doesn't want to accept reparations plans that come from W's. Straight up, I'm not lying, y'all. Hand to the sky. I tell no lie. They were literally on there, a couple of people, trying to slander FBA because we say we don't accept reparations plans that come from the dominant society. So basically, they want a reparations plan for us only if the dominant society creates it and signs off on it. It's just like Massa. They have to have Massa's involvement. They have to have Karen. They have to have Becky involved. They cannot breathe without them. These are the people who misrepresent us. These are the people who gots to go. That's why we got to get them all about the way, and we got to replace them with B1s. That's the first step to getting reparations. The first step is representation and who is going to speak on us, because whoever's on these boards and on these panels, these are going to be the people who facilitate the deal. I'm telling everybody now, we can hashtag all day long. We can say cut the check all day long. If we not in these spots, real B1s holding it down for each other, then we ain't getting nothing. Because all they're going to do is pass us reparations, and it's going to go to everybody else. They want to water it down. That's what they want to do. First off, they want to deny it. Like we always say, the dominant society back in the day, they'd be like, ain't no reparations. We ain't giving y'all nothing. And then when we pushed it to the point, they say, damn, you know, these B1s do got a little movement going, and we do need their votes, and they talking about not voting. Okay, let's give them reparations and trick them like we always do. We'll give them reparations, but at the back end of it, they won't get $1, everyone else will. And then on TV, we'll tell them how it's such a crowning achievement and how supremacy went away. They told us supremacy went away when Donald Trump wasn't president anymore. They told us supremacy went away when Joe Biden got elected. They told us supremacy went away when Barack Obama got elected. Supremacy went away when Kamala Harris got elected. Supremacy went away when Ketanji Jackson got selected. So you know damn well they're going to tell us supremacy went away when they give us his all life reparations check. And by the way, it's going to be fucking a Happy Meal, a free Uber ride, and everyone else is going to get dollars. Unless we get up in these spots, unless we get up in these spaces and in these zones and we make the deal. Put it this way, and I got the perfect analogy and the best example ever. Would you ever go negotiate a contract that you weren't present for? You don't go. Your representation ain't there. It's not even your agent's not even there. You ain't there, your mom ain't there, your daddy ain't there, your agent, nobody with your best interests is in hand at that negotiation table. You just send some clown you've never met before, doesn't like you, but he's representing you at the table. Would anybody be suitable for that? Would anybody be down with that? Because that's exactly what's happening right now. We are at a negotiation table because politics is negotiation. And at this negotiation table, they got every anti-black that they can find, every anti-black from every country on this planet. They're representing their side. On our side, we got someone who's claiming and pretending to have our best interests, but he's really working for the person on the other side of the table. So basically, you got the anti-black that's working against reparations, and then you got the anti-black that's pretending to be down with reparations. But in essence, they're both on the same team, and it's not ours. That's why we have to get rid of these race imposters and replace them with true B1s. The same way we got to get rid of the system of supremacy and replace it with the system of justice. Word to Neely Fuller. Let's move on. Now, since we've already talked about Miss Alexandria, drink 40s, been a stripper, a fucking crip walk hunt, Miss Karen, let me get the keys to your reparations. We've already exposed her. We're going to keep that on moving. Let's talk about some of these other clowns and imposters on these reparations task force. I'm going to play some clips of these people. And what's the one thing you guys are going to notice is that none of these motherfuckers is FBA. None of them. I mean, you got motherfuckers from all over the earth. This shit looks like We Are the World. There's no FBAs on there talking about an FBA program. There's no FBAs on there talking about FBA tangibles. There's no FBAs on there talking about FBA resources.
Chris, good evening to you. Well, right now the hearing is actually still going on, and as you'd expect with something this complicated, it's going to take much more discussions, right? So I talked with Jonathan Burgess, who spoke at the last hearing, and he shared his thoughts with me about one of the big questions that needs to be answered before a recommendation can be made. Jonathan Burgess, who lives in Sacramento, says he's the descendant of slaves.
Great-great-grandfather was born in Virginia, brought to California as a slave, and ended up paying for his ancestors, his children, to come to California.
Burgess has been following the hearings of the California Reparations Task Force from the very beginning.
Well, I really hope that California gets it right.
The task force is responsible for determining how any potential slavery reparations should be calculated for Black people. The main question is, should all Black people get reparations regardless of lineage or origin?
My hopes is that the task force will vote lineage-based.
The task force has 9 members who remain divided on the issue. Some say all Black people, regardless of lineage, should get reparations because of systemic racism in housing, education, and employment.
Listen to this guy right here.
Black people, moved from the U.S. South to California, largely to participate in the port industries that the state, has long been a part of. And so, to think about how we can move that timeline back, right, really to the inception of what we understand as a state of California, to me was really critical. Because it helps to open up the narrative of exactly what the relationship this state has to African Americans. And what we have in this report is, very much like my earlier answer, the potential to shift the narrative, right? And I think, while we are all in agreement that we are, anchoring this claim of reparations within the kind of process and experience, and the structural relationship that African-American enslavement produced, what this report, will highlight are the many iterations of that, initial and foundational injustice.
Notice how that guy at the end, though, he said foundational. The whole time he's talking about the Black and the African Americans and da-da-da-da. And at the end, he threw in foundational. Terminology thief. They listening. They listen to what we saying. They may not act like it, but they fucking know. And we know too, because we see through them. So he threw foundational in at the end. Y'all caught that? Yeah, because he lying. Listen to this motherfucker. Y'all heard that? That, as I thought, that I just believe. I don't even know what fucking accent that is. This motherfucker must be from a small island in the Pacific Ocean. I ain't never heard no shit like this. Who is this guy? Matter of fact, I did see him before because Tariq Nasheed put up something about this guy, and he's a tether, and he was doing that. I'm down with y'all. Pivot. I really ain't down with y'all. I got y'all best interest in mind. Pivot. What's in it for my people? He's a fraud. He's a tether. Let's get him out of there. Listen to this lady.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon to the esteemed members of the task force. Again, my name is Siyun Yang. I'm the Deputy Attorney General coordinating this first report. So I would say that with regards to any suggestions and all the edits and comments, if you all could just make sure that I am CC'd on that email.
Come on. Come the fuck on. Nothing about her says FBA. Nothing about her says B1. And this is the person not only talking about reparations, as you heard when she was speaking, she's one of the head people on the panel. This is the task force. This is the task force that's going to lead black folks to reparations. Yeah, okay, if that ain't bad, Mrs. Yang, listen to this guy.
Member Tamaki, you're recognized.
Well, I just have to say this is a remarkable piece of work. And, synthesizing these expert authorities, and a lot of them are, I would say most of them even are in the last 10 years. And for some of it is in the last 1 to 3 years. And in other words, it's the latest scholarship, in this area. I'm up through chapter 9.
Okay, so AKA he's saying he's full of shit. And guess how he voted? He voted no. I know that for a fact. He voted no. We got the receipt on him. So these are all non-FBAs. As a matter of fact, I was just looking at a list that I compiled. It was from one of these reparations task force, all these fraudulent ones. And I'm telling you, there was 40 people on there and 30 of them were non-FBAs. Matter of fact, 30 of them were non-black. So not just non-FBA. These motherfuckers was non-black. No lie, these are reparations ops. All reparations ops. Let's talk about how in Cobra, the NAACP, they were having all these fake ass parties and fake ass committees, and they were talking from this side of the country and that side. They was trying to be slick. They was trying to jump around the country, not thinking we would follow them. Man, brothers and sisters was on their ass everywhere they went. Everywhere they went. They thought this was back in the old day, and we were just gonna sing and dance and say, oh, such a great symbolic victory. Oh, Martin's dream came true. No, black folks were saying that check better come through, and that shit better come through with interest. And I'm talking about a lot of zeros on it. So we all know in Cobra denounced, NAACP denounced. They do not represent B1s. They do not represent certified black society. They are all fraudulent. And I'm going to say this clear, and I guarantee all of you guys agree with me. I denounce any reparations that come from Democrats, Republicans, the NAACP, in Cobra. If you are not B1 certified FBA or directly affiliated and greenlit from the black grassroots, your reparations claims, your reparations panels, task force, all that are illegitimate. We don't want it. Only thing that we're about is FBA B1 certified black society stamped. If you ain't got that stamp, you can't come in. You cannot come in. And I denounce every motherfucker who ain't got that stamp. That's how you got to do it. Because if we talking politics, we talking about us. We talking about negotiation here. We talking about money. If we sitting here talking about money, I'm not playing around. I'm not letting just any Johnny off the block come and represent my money for my people. I take my legacy, my heritage, I take my community, and I take my lineage very, very serious. And I'm not going to take Democrat reparations. I don't want Democrat reparations because we already know what that is. I'm not waiting around. I'm not saying, well, just give them some time. Fuck they time. They on my time. And my watch says fuck them. That's what it says. Straight up and down. It's that fuck them o'clock. And it's going to stay that way until I get my goddamn money. The same way you guys hear me talking like this, and I'm straight real with it, uncut, that's how we have to be with reparations. We can play with every other motherfucking subject. Black folks been out here doing the pop, lock, and drop it during protests. Black folks been out here two-stepping in the name of love. That shit ain't got us nowhere. When it comes to reparations, I'm not playing with nobody. Anybody who's coming on some bullshit with reparations is getting their ass checked. I don't give a fuck who you are, where you from. If you ain't about the best interest of B1s, and if you ain't about the best interest of my lineage, then you gonna have a straight up problem. And that's how we gotta approach it. And unless we adopt that type of mentality, they gonna play games with us. You gotta let people know, like in your real life, you ain't fucking around with your money. You ain't fucking around with your money. Let me ask this question. If you went to work right now and you worked 9 to 5, 7 days a week, were away from your family, was away from your spouse, busting your back, cutting your hands up, trying to get that paper, and the job said, we're going to give your paycheck to somebody else, how you going to respond? Just tell me straight up. I already know the answer. How you going to respond though? I'm telling the world. If you was away from your children, when you was putting in that hard work and somebody didn't give you the money, or say somebody asked you, hey, let me get $100, and you do a job for them and you give them $100. And then when you come back to say, hey man, can I get my money? They say, nah, I gave it to somebody else. How you going to respond to that? That's how we got to handle it. The same way in your head, or if you said it out loud, you ain't gonna play about your motherfucking money. That's the same way we gotta be with this. We can't have no reparations robbery. We can't have no all lives matter reparations. We already know that's what they're going to do. We're not waiting to see if that's what they're gonna do. It's gonna happen. It's like the sun gonna come up, okay? These motherfuckers gonna try to take our reparations and give it to dogs and cats and mice and everybody except for us. That's what they've always done. The best indication of future behavior is past behavior, and the best way to judge a motherfucker is their track record. And when it comes to the dominant society and all of these other reparations ops, we already got their card pulled, so we already know what they gonna do. So AKA, we pacing on them. When they get here, we'll be waiting on them. Only difference is this time, when they come around, B1's got a plan. And that plan is called the Black Agenda. I always tell people it's either gonna be the agents versus agenda. And the agents is going to be pulled out, the agents is going to be ran out, and we're going to stay true to who we are. We're going to stay true to what we want, and what we want is that goddamn money, and it's our reparations. And any op that gets in the way with that will be tossed out the motherfucking club and ran off the block. And if y'all thought that was bad, listen to this guy. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to dude. I ain't gonna say nothing, just listen.
The next commenter is Maurice Muhammad. You've been unmuted. You now have 3 minutes. Mr. Muhammad?
Unmute yourself, Mr. Muhammad.
All right, here we go. Big blessings. All right, thank you. Again, my name is Maurice Muhammad. I'm the National Director of the Black First Initiative. Speaking for the dead ancestors of ours that were enslaved here in America, who couldn't speak for themselves, who couldn't take justice for themselves. So you are their living vindication. So you are the hopes of our people. You're carrying them with you. So we ask you to make sure you don't silence them. Give justice a real shot. This is something that is the challenge of our time as we walk into history boldly declaring that our relatives shall never be forgotten. And as Fanta has said to Kunta Kinte, they've taken everything from us. We can't even be us.
Come on, yes. The brother literally went into a Roots speech and did a damn Kunta Kinte quote. This is who the fuck is on the panel. First off, he went full preacher. As we walk through the door, my brothers will know on that day. Bruh, sit your ass down. Matter of fact, sit down, but not on my reparations table. Get the fuck up and go sit down over there on the curb, because you don't belong right here talking about no motherfucking Kunta Kinte. Yes, this man used a Roots quote to explain why we need reparations. This is who, where the fuck do they find these people? Where the fuck do they find them? Because this is a goddamn shame. And these are ops, man, and this is how they come. They come in all different shapes and sizes. We just named them all. But the main thing about it is, it's all about us, family. It's all about us. And it's all about us, and it's going to continue to be all about us until we get what's rightfully ours, and that does not stop. So this is how it comes, and this is what we got to focus on. And don't let no legislation or no law or any type of thing that they put in front of us be a diversion for what really is coming in our direction. So look at that. You had Mrs. Yang, Mr. Tashi, Mr. Muhammad. None of these are FBAs, but they're all talking on FBA reparations. These is all ops. All ops. The other guy who talking, his accent was twisted. He sounded like he was from fucking Tasmania. Who knows? These are all ops. But I know one thing, they not FBAs. And they damn sure ain't B1. And I know something even further than that. They ain't getting what belongs to us. This is a debt owed to us. And not just from slavery, through everything after that. Our whole existence, from building this country and withstanding this country and sustaining this country. This shit belongs to us, and ain't nobody gonna touch it. And I'm gonna say this, and this is the main thing about reparations. Every time you speak about reparations for FBA, always say reparations, FBA, cash. Do not separate cash from reparations. Don't say it by itself. You have to always say cash, because if you do not say cash money, dollar bills, cash rules everything around me, cream, they're going to run with something else. So we're not even going to put it in the atmosphere of something other than cash. I don't want to hear nothing. Just say cash, reparations. Reparations, cash. Do not separate the two of them. Every time I speak about reparations, I make sure I immediately attach money to the front end or the back end of that statement. But it's going to be attached. Oh yeah, because that's what they don't want us to have. Like we said, they trying to give us a fucking, a free box of motherfucking Nutri-Grains. They trying to give us some goddamn seasoning salt. They trying to give us a fucking free movie pass. Everything except for what we deserve. Everything except for what we deserve. And that's not how it's coming. You give me the money. People say money or land. Give me the motherfucking money and I'll buy the land. You know what I'm saying? They'll start playing with all that shit, but you can't play with money though. You can't play with money. So always make sure whenever you speak of reparations, cash on it, and that's the best way you can get it. It's all about the dollar bill. We got to let them know we focus on that money, and we need the money to come. We've seen times where they ask people about reparations and they say, well, in what form? And that's another thing people always do with us. They always try to questionize our realities. And don't let anybody do that. They always do that. That's a tactic folks use. You know, you see it all the time on Twitter spaces. I was on Twitter the other day and I was in 2 spaces and I seen people questionize reality 50 times in 5 minutes. What is B1? What is FBA? What is certified black? I had a motherfucker tell me what certified black. I said, you know what black is? Yeah. Well, then go find the definition of certified and put it in front of it. Okay. It's called real, homie. And he was like, yeah. I was like, sit your ass down. That's what they always do. That's a tactic that people try to use against us so they can take away the validity to our claims. They can take away the merit and the basis of what we speak. Another thing they like to do is they like to ask us the questions. So anytime we're in any panel or any discussion with these people, they always want to say, so you believe that this, that, and the other thing, so they can put us on the defensive. But we play offense. We sat back long enough and see everybody else get some points. Now it's time that we start hitting them threes, and now it's time that we start scoring them touchdowns. You know, and the main thing we can do and where we can start is punching that touchdown in for reparations, because that'll change the whole landscape of everything. Anyone out there, and I'm gonna say this, anybody out there who claims to be B1, claims to be FBA, claims to be certified, and is not for full support of full cash reparations payments to us is not real. They're not real and they're an op. And we got to see ops. Remember, ops put on camouflage very good. They understand how to be sneaky and they understand how to maneuver in disguise. And there's going to be a lot of them. And they're going to come from a lot of different directions, as we broke down in the very, very beginning of today's AlphaCast. They're going to come at us from the back door, front door. They're going to come through windows, and we got to be ready for them each and every time. You know, I'm always saying that this is a new era and things play out differently now. Back in the old days, you can kind of expect what was going to happen. The dominant society was going to lie. Black folks was going to fall for it. And then something happened. B1 stepped in the building. And the lies didn't work anymore. And the games and the deception don't work no more. Kamala Harris was supposed to be the new version of Barack Obama. How'd that work out? Not too good for them. Ketanji Jackson was supposed to be the new version of Kamala Harris. How the fuck did that work out? Not too good for them at all. So if you ever need any type of motivation to see how things are different and see the path that we're on and see that everything that we say we want, we can go get, look around you and look what we're doing. Look what we're doing. We're rejecting their shit left and right. See, we're rejecting their claims on us, but they can't reject our claim. And our claim is a reparations claim. And it's as thorough as it gets. And we're articulating it in a good form. We just need to take everybody who's out there representing us in a false manner and replace them with everybody down here in the grassroots. The black grassroots is powerful. There's never been a time in this country where the black grassroots has had so much control over the narrative, over the talking points, and over action. And that's because we're doing exactly that. We're creating action. Brothers and sisters are building in every aspect of our society. That's what's going on right now. You got black businesses popping up everywhere. We're starting to get real black grassroots candidates. I spoke to a few of them, and you can see the difference between them and the ops. The same way you could tell the difference between the B1s and the ops. The same way you could tell the difference between FBAs and the tethers. The line has been drawn in the sand. The wagons have been circled. All the certifieds is lined up. All the smuts and the sambos and coons have been exposed. Everything right now is green lit. And we can't leave out the regulating part. No, not at all. And we've been doing some regulating. Oh yeah, us right here in Team Certified, we've been getting at a couple people who've been out of pocket. And anybody who's out of pocket got to get checked. There's some groups right here in the States and some over in the diaspora. And you know, they've been getting a little hot, so we got to cool them off a little bit. Let them know that the terms that our master teachers have put out in the atmosphere, in the universe, they're for us to succeed. Not for anybody's game, not for anybody's thievery, and not for anybody's punk shit. So if we catch them on that, we're going to regulate them. And they know who they are and they've been regulated. And that goes for them, that goes for the ops. And like I said, anybody who comes wrong, got to get it, because B1 don't play. And this is going to be a long, hot summer, and I'm all for it. Can't wait, because at the end of the day, like I said, B1s will be the only ones left standing because we own code and the code is strong. There used to be a time when we used to talk about the code and people weren't really living it, or we used to talk about the code and we only had a few people. Now the code is so strong because everyone out here has stood side by side and we rose up. As I always say, the brothers, the sisters, the kings, the queens, the goddess, and the gods. When we are on the same page, we are untouchable. You can look at our track record, undefeated. And like MLK said in the beginning of today's AlphaCast, he said, we're going to come to Washington. Yes, we are. And this time we're coming for our check. So if MLK was speaking about this, Malcolm X was speaking about this, black people have been talking about this for years. And right now, it's as far as you've ever seen it. I've never seen presidential candidates have to answer these questions. I never even seen the dominant society have to pretend to want reparations. All these ops that they sending out here, why you think they're doing that? Because we on code. We putting pressure on them. The dominant society will deny you all day long. And the fact that we got them under pressure is the reason why they got to answer these questions. And they hate answering these questions, but they got to. They got to, because we're making them answer these questions. And sooner or later, they're going to have to give us real tangibles to these questions. Not just words, not symbols, not gestures, no, tangibles. That's why we got the term, no tangible, no vote. Tangibles or else, or like what I started, reparations over everything. Be one from day one. These are the things that we got to put in place. I had talked to Jason Black when I called in the other day, and I was saying the same thing that I'm telling you guys right now. I said we got to enforce the code, enforce the agenda. And we're the only ones who can enforce the agenda because it's us. Matter of fact, y'all listen.
You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
So Black Alpha calling from Toledo, Ohio.
Black Alpha from Toledo. What's on your mind?
Oh, everything's good. I appreciate the time, brother. I got to agree with what you said earlier to answer the original question. The only people who have our best interests in mind are us. B1 people with a B1 agenda, and that's it. Anybody who's looking any further than that or outside of that spectrum or want to have a seat at the table are wasting their time. I agree with what you told the brother earlier, and the same goes for people who say we need a black political party. There are black politicians, and they don't work for us. They go on vacation, they throw fish fry parties. We got a black caucus. They fight for all lives matter, dog lives matter, everybody except for us. So we know the position, we know who they are, we know what to expect, and we got receipts. So knowing that we got a B1 agenda, we got to stick to the B1 code, and we don't enforce it by doing what they ask us to do. We enforce it by doing the opposite. So with that said, I appreciate the time. B1, brother.
Black first, brother. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. And like I said,
that right there is what I'm talking about in the truest sense. If we get on code and we got this B1 agenda, we ain't got to worry about a seat at the table. We'll buy the whole house. How you trying to get a seat at the table when you built the country? You built the country, you ain't got to look for no seat at anybody's table. The only table we gonna be sitting at is the boss's table, making boss moves while we boss up, and everybody else is just gonna have to watch us do it in real time. True. But yo, it's been fun as hell breaking down these ops with y'all, keeping it real, putting everybody on that Jumbotron, big screen, highlighting them, framing them, and letting them know FBA don't play. Hey, Mike Tyson showed them that. The same way Mike Tyson did, old boy, that's the same way we doing it any op from any direction. You gonna catch that B1 smoke, because B1 is about that life for real. I appreciate everybody for the pull up. Make sure you bang them notifications, smash that like button, and subscribe to the channel, Black Alpha Network, BAN. We coming, man. I appreciate the whole family, man, top to bottom, all of you guys. Not one person excluded, everyone included. We a team and we a family and we rep. And everything that we get done, we're going to do together. We don't walk behind our people, we walk beside our people. And when we are on the same page at the same time, the game is ours. And I say that with conviction, and I stand by it the same way I stand by the whole B1 family. So I give you guys a salute. Make sure you stay safe. Make sure you focus on your money, focus on your family, and everything else will fall into place, man. A good mind can't be broken, and the B1 soul is certified. Yes, indeed. This is Black Alpha 6, man. I appreciate the time and the love, y'all. Stay good, and remember one thing. Black is beautiful, and beautiful is black.